Hi, this is Majinoni. Here's my review for The Amazing Spider-Man 638. This is the One Moment in Time issue where we find out why Peter Parker and Mary Jane never got married. Now, there's going to be some spoilers, so if you haven't read your books, then come back later. Now, this has a number of artists involved, and it actually combines an old Spider-Man annual, 21, with this issue here. We have Joe Q writing it. And here we have, like I said, various different artists, which I think is kind of cool that Joe Q's right. It's kind of like he's taking responsibility for the mess he caused. Because, honestly, I really wasn't happy with One Brand New Day. But anyways, let's get on with the review. Like I said, there's spoilers, so be warned. If you haven't read your book, come back later. So we learn exactly what Mary Jane said to Mephisto at the end of that whole storyline that triggered everything for Brand New Day. And pretty much she's like, well, I know Peter's not going to ask this, so unless I tell him to. So here's the deal: when this is done, you're going to forget about. It says you will leave him alone for the rest of his days. So basically, what she does is she keeps him like. Clears the slate with Mephisto, and that Mephisto won't come back to bother Peter about this particular wish. Which, it's not. It kind of surprised me. It was a letdown, but it actually was kind of smart of her to do that. Now onto the story. You have Mary Jane going to see Peter. I mean, she's looking good. Peter's not looking very good, and she basically is like, I really don't like the way things left between us. And Peter's like the same way. It's kind of like they sense that there's something not right, and they want to be friends. And she makes reference to the fact that they were about to be married but never got married. So I was like, I wonder what happened. Well, this is what happened. And now we get to see what happened in the annual. There was a time when Spider-Man saw a robbery going on, and you have Electro involved. He comes in, takes care of business, and here's the added new pages. So he caught the crook, one of the crooks. They threw him in a squad car, and a bird comes and unlocks the door. And the guy's like, "What the hell?" Okay, and he leaves. Well, we go back to the original comic where you have Peter Parker trying to figure out what to do. He's like, I got Mary Jane, but Gwen, she was the one. She got killed. Do I bring Mary Jane into this same problem, or this my world, and the fact that if my secret identity ever got let out, she's gonna be in danger. And then, Mary Jane's like, hey, we're going to get married, I don't care, look at my dress. And, it's like, I remember reading this, but I don't remember, like, all the details. I remember, like, certain panels. So it was kind of, like, cool to reread that whole event again. Now, you have the guy who escaped. Makes a deal with some dude. He's like, hey, I want you to take care of some business for me. And the guy's like, sure, no problem. And we go back to the original story. We have Peter Parker with a sad old bachelor party. It looks like at some coffee shop. And you have Mary Jane. She's doing it like in style, where she's got a bunch of guys, and they're all having a grand time. They're all trying to woo her. And Peter's just expressing doubt of, do I really want to do this? And Flash Thompson wings him a new one. Now, Mary Jane has a little bit of doubt, but she's like, screw it, I'm going to get married, let's party. It's like night and day. Now, we get back to the new stuff where you have Flash and, God, I forgot the stupid guy's name now, Osborn's kid. They're talking about, what's going on with Peter and stuff like that. And Mary Jane's still partying it up, and she sees Spider-Man like swinging away, and then like her friends like you're not going to have that many nights alone now, but she knows she's going to have every night's going to be basically alone. So they're talking again about reminiscing a little bit. Then we go to Peter's nightmare that he had with them getting married, and how the villains just came in and disrupted everything. And this is where we get some new stuff again, where Peter's like, what am I doing? Is this the right thing? If I lost you, if that ever happened. And what happens is he decides to go out web slinging again. Well, the guy that was in that squad car, he's taking care of some business with this one guy, and sure enough, Peter Parker, or especially Spider-Man, swings by and takes care of business. But the weird thing is, we all know that Spider-Man has that spider sense, but he allows himself to get hit by that cinder block. And you understand it's Mephisto, it's magic, all that stuff was going on. Well, the guy's trying to get away, Spider-Man's all dazed. The guy falls off the building, Spider-Man tries to save him, shoots the web doesn't work, and they land on the ground. And, to Peter's credit, he absorbs the entire impact of the fall, so that way the guy would survive. Well, as you can see, they're out cold. Well, next day, here's the wedding. All these people are showing up, and people are congratulating each other, and Mary Jane arrived. She's like, I'm late, but what do you mean he's not here? Now we get to the new part where you have basically they're wondering where's Peter, and Flash Thompson's making references to how he had doubts, and he shouldn't have said that right there. Mary Jane tries to call him, she can't get a hold of him. Now, what's kind of funny is you see her that she's using her cell phone, but back when this comic was written, they never had cell phones. So it's I understand it's a creative license, but just so you know, that shouldn't have happened. She doesn't know, is Peter hurt? Does he really have doubts? He doesn't want to get married? What's going on? And of course, everybody goes home. Now, eventually, the guy wakes up. Peter kicks Peter in the face and says, "Hey, I'll give you a free ride. You saved my life after all." And then he's starting to come to, but by then, it's already too late. And and basically, Peter's like, you know what? I think we're gonna need some more tea, but Mary Jane's drinking some wine. So that there's something else that's going on besides this. I mean, I'm sure if Peter showed up, like, with a busted up face and then injured, Mary Jane would know something happened to him, and that was the reason why he didn't show up. So I'm really curious to see what happened after. Again, we get another Stan Lee 2-page comic. So, while I don't really like what Marvel did and Joe Q did with the Brand New Day and all that other nonsense, I think that at least I can say that this story actually does a decent job explaining what happened. And keep in mind, I'm not endorsing what happened, but I'm just saying I think they did a decent job with, I don't know, kind of correcting it, I guess you can say. And by correcting it, I just mean they just didn't flick a switch and then this is what happened. Now there's a whole story behind it. And to me that makes a little bit more sense, but I'm still against all this new stuff. The concept of what happened. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave it on the side. What do you guys think of the new storylines? Do you think Mary Jane and Peter Parker had to be separated to tell the stories that they're telling? Or was it done only because they wanted to make Spider-Man on the news and sell more comics? I think it's to sell more comics. Subscribe to the channel, and until next time.